So welcome back. So we were explaining related to an example of how an engineering workflow runs to the simulation right from segregation of the data. So it could be in different streams. So every stream is associated with the requirement of the data. So, but the product data management helps only to manage the data of any product and its process. But using product data technology, it helps in providing the technical aspects in each level of the process. It could be in the level of constraining the design, it could be in the level of vehicle design, or it could be in the level of modeling the environment and getting the analysis. For everything, the requirement of the data plays a vital role. So based on the data segregated, all the process will be functioning properly with the help of product data technology, and finally it will be simulated. The product data technology is not restricted only for the simulation part, even it can go on for the prototype checking virtually or in actual also. So this is just an example to show how an workflow in product data technology goes exactly. So after this, you should now know what do you mean by workflow or its definition, how does it look like. So rather than explaining you in the form of sentence, I've just framed out a template here which helps you in understanding how the workflow actually take place. So initially you will be having different tasks for a product to get completed. So every task here is associated with different department. Under department there will be supervisors, under supervisors there will be team of people who will be working on. So every department in an organization which is bifurcated into different departments will be doing some or the other work of the process, so that finally the ultimate output as a product will be received. So now let us explain here. So you used to have an process without any technology support to it, but when you try to implement product data technology to the every process of a product, it helps the process technically. I told you product data management helps the process only in managing the data, but they cannot take sudden actions, sudden decisions or changes which has to take care. But using product data technology, it will be helpful for us to take sudden actions as well, and it helps us technically also. So what do you understand here? Here you can see task A, B, C, D and E. So to start task A particular amount of input data is essential, as we explained here. To start up with any task, you require the documents, right? So these documents are one of the property of the workflow technology, transformation of the data. So this is very much essential. So this transformation of the required data will be provided to the task A. So task A will process the work with the help of data received technically. So the output of task A will be forwarded to the output of task B. And I also told you the product data technology is keen in performing well even when the functions, even when the processes are done parallelly. As per the property here, many parallel process it can take care. So with respect to that, you have task C and task D. So here the output of task B will be provided to task C and task D. The input for task C will be different and the input for task D will be different. So you can see here, so it is a bifurcation of the sub workflow. So input for task D will be different and input for task C will be different, but both will be received from task B. So the output of task B will be divided into two parts. One part of the output of task B will be provided as an input to task C. Another part of the output of task B will be given for task D. So this is the sub workflow which it receives the input. And even under task D there could be sub components, task D1 and task D2. Until and unless the task D1 is completed, task D2 will not be allowed to do it. So this will be disabled. So you can see all the process virtually in the PC. I will show it later. So based on the input received, the output of task D will be originated. Similarly, the task C also will be done parallelly. So the output of both task C and both task D will be given for task E. So then the task E will process based on the output received from C and D. Then the output, the required end goal of the product which was supposed to be achieved will be received. So the product data technology helps in fine tuning all the tasks with respect to different departments beautifully, and it processes and you will yield with a good product with good accuracy. So this is the added advantage of product data technology, and this is how an workflow takes place in a product data technology embedded organizations. So now you understood what is workflow definition. Then you should see how the execution of the workflow takes place if an organization has embedded with product data technology. So this process I have told you. So this workflow explains the entire working of the product data technology. It could be having any number of tasks. It's not necessary that it should be having this number of tasks only. But now, along with this, some other images are extra here to understand how the execution of it takes place. So now task A is coded with color black. Why? It is showing an indication that a team has received some task based on the input, and these people are now committed to get the required output. Okay, so that will be in published. So once the process gets started, the work of it and the published data will be fine-tuned and showed in the form of a display. So it shows all the versions of work associated in task A based on the input data received to task A. Okay, so once the progress of the work in task A is done, it will yield with some results. So that is the output of task A. Once the output will come out, these output data will be published as task A published data. So these are the output of the task A. Later, the output of the task A will be taken as an input for the task B, and the work gets started in task B. Okay, since these are published data, what they are using it for the work, it is coded by the color blue. So once the work is been done, so the green color represents which task is currently going on. So the task C is going on, it is in progress. So it shows all the variables work which is in progress currently. So the color code also plays a vital role. By seeing the color code, you can identify what's going on exactly, which process is going on, which has been done, which has been disabled, enabled, everything you can identify. So task C is working here, but you can see task C and task D are working in parallel. So now we have to see, it is coded with yellow. So what does it understand? Yeah, along with task C, the task D is also enabled. So it is working in parallel with task C because product data technology is keen in operating more parallel sessions. So it shows both the sessions are working in parallel. So the output published by task B will be given as a part to the task C and a part to the task D. So both will receive the required input data based on the operation what they are doing. And similarly here task D will receive the input data. So in task D again you have two versions, task D1 and task D2. So here task D2 is disabled or blocked, and hence it shows the color red. So now currently only task C and task D is working. In task D again task D1 is working, task D2 is disabled, and hence the output of task D is also disabled. So once task D is completed, D1 is completed, then D2 will be enabled. D1 will be disabled. So then this process will go on. Once this process is go on, then only you will get the output of task D. So once task C is completed, you will receive the output of task C. So now both the output of task C and task D will be published, and that will be transmitted to the task E. So task E will be having some variables, some work which has to be done to complete that particular task. So that uses the output of task C and D as an input data, and it does the process and finally yields with the required output. Okay, so this is how the execution of all the process to yield with an required product takes place with the help of product data technology. So here you can see every task is being supported, means every process in production of a product is supported technically, and this technical version is nothing but our product data technology. So they are associating each process technically with the help of data recorded in them, so that here we are able to take decision at any spot. If the people come and visualize a process, they'll come to know which is done, which is now doing, and which is yet to be done, and if any delay has been there, if any problem issues are there, that will be also represented. So looking at the workflow execution, one can take an action, a decision on the spot, because product data technology helps technically every process, which is different from that of product data management. So this is about how the workflow will be executed with the help of product data technology. After this, you should know what you mean by life cycle of individual items. So in manufacturing a product, we have studied already what do you mean by product life cycle management. And a product has 5 stages, right from introduction, right from initiation, introduction, growth, maturity, and decline phase. So that we studied with respect to the product when it is thrown into the market. So before manufacturing the product, there are many phases which come across. So that we haven't taken care at all until now. And hence many people distinguish the life cycle of a product in 2 categories. One is with respect to the preliminary stage, and one is the production status. So once the product is manufactured, it will be having its own life cycle that we have done. During the production, it will be having one life cycle, and before the production there will be many initiations what we have to take. So based on the need, you have to design. So once it has been designed, it should be reviewed by the design engineer to identify and compatible design for the market, and hence review will be done. Once the review is done, then the design will be validated by the design engineer. So there are many phases which come across before the product is manufactured, so it has its own time and life cycle. So we have to consider even that. So keeping this all aspects in mind, the preliminary phase, the production status, so it has different life cycles which are classified into different items or parts. So we segregate the items as preliminary type, prototype, preliminary stage, prototype stage, field test, and production, because the part what you manufacture will rely on all these stages. There, so you need to understand a detailed cycle about the preliminary stage, a detailed cycle about the prototype stage, a detailed life cycle about the field test, and a detailed cycle about the production stage. After production only, the product will be thrown into the market. So we know the product life cycle management for the product which is in the market. So what about the life cycle, about the phases which come across before the product is manufactured? So that has to be analyzed. So that is directly connected to our life cycle of the individual items which come across during preliminary phase, prototype phase, field test and production. So when you start up a concept for the product based on the need of the customer, you will design. So that comes under preliminary stage. I told you what all components you have along with design. The person has to review and validate. So it will be having its own life cycle. When will be the initiation? When it will be having the decline stage. So once the design is validated, once the design is approved, the design has to be validated. So the design will get validated when you see an successful prototype working as per the requirement. So generating a prototype either virtually or in physical will be having its own life cycle. So you have to deal what is the initiation phase of the prototype, when it will growth, when it will get saturated, when it gets declined. So all those things it will be having its specific own life cycle. So once the prototype is completed, it has to be tested. Right, so that comes into the category of field test. Even testing will be having its own life cycle. So you will be manufacturing only one product based on the approval of the prototype to check whether it works properly. So production of that single unit will be having its own life cycle, and that validated product has to be accepted by the customer. So these are the part which will be included in the life cycle of the field test. Once the field test is also approved, then it comes for the production life cycle. So how you are producing the product in mass lot, in huge production, which all the operations are coming in completing the product. So you have to manufacture n number of parts, you have to use n number of operations, and then it has to be checked for accuracy and precision, and then it has to be assembled into a single unit. So it has its own life cycle. So you need to understand every item in manufacturing a product as its own life cycle, which falls into these four categories: preliminary, prototype, production and field test. So these are the things what you have to consider. So apart from this, there is rarely a need for life cycle after production. After production, that there is no need of life cycle. This is because the technical content normally doesn't change in post production. So once the product has been produced, the technical content doesn't change. The design remains fixed. The material what you used remains fixed. The operation what you done, everything will not change. So once the product is manufactured, there is no need for the life cycle, and hence a design ends its life because you won't be modifying the design. So the maturity level for the design will be equal to 0. This is what you have to understand. What does it mean? If the maturity level for the design is 0, then it indicates the design of this part cannot be used for other new designs. I told you about product configuration earlier. Every time with respect to need and changes, you will configure the product. So when you configure the product, you have to remodify the design. So to remodify the design, the existing design should be in such a platform you can add, delete or modify anything to the existing so that you can make quite quicker changes and throw the product into the market. In at that stage, the maturity level for the design will be 1. But all these concepts will be understood by the designer when he designs for a particular product. He will justify whether this existing design could be used in future or not. If it is not able to use, if it cannot be used, means that shows the extra accessories for the existing design cannot be done. Then the maturity level for that design will be 0. If the maturity level for that is equal to 1 or any high number, then that shows that the existing design has compatibility to make any modification in the design so that it could be used in future for other upgradations in product also. Then the maturity level for that will be 1. So this is the difference what you have to understand. And also the parts, some parts could be produced by partner organization and that could be adopted by the home organization. Then then they will maintain the same cycle of production without any modification, because the parts which are manufactured by the partner organization will be having different life cycle, so they cannot fine tune the life cycles of the part when it is being manufactured by another company, so they will just adopt which is being received from the partner organization, so they will maintain it for production only. Until the production they will maintain the part cycle, they'll maintain the life cycle for the particular part what they have taken from a partner organization. It is restricted until the production. So after production the product will be having a common product life cycle until it reaches the decline stage. Okay, because your organization will not be having any direct control over the technical content and the parts which are manufactured by the partner organization. They can just say the part what they have received from the partner organization could be accepted or not. If it is accepted they say that the part is qualified. If it is not accepted, if it is cancelled, then they say that the part is disqualified. That's all. They won't term anything technically due to what reason it has been disqualified, because all control related to technical content will be associated with the partner organization and not with the home organization. And hence these are the needs why a life cycle of an individual item has to be studied. So this is about the life cycle of the individual item. So later you have to also understand which are the type of item status which are available. Usually there are many number of status related to the items of a particular product for parts to be manufactured. I have listed only main things. So one is the item status called available, other one is the item status called M missing, next is the item status called N build. So what does it mean exactly? If you see a status for an item as available, that shows that in item system in product data technology, the item is checked in or checked out. The item which has been needed for processing of an part has been received by the system. Then you tell it has been checked in. If the item has been processed, manufactured and has been delivered for some other work, then you claim that as a checkout. In both the thing you can tell that this item is available. So it is available to place a hold on it, and hence the item system will be having an hold on it because it is currently available. That is the status. And the label changes to the due date when checked out. So when the item has been processed and delivered to somewhere, so the label gets changed by itself with a due date showing when it has been checked out, but still the system will be having an hold on it because it has been checked out from the system. It will be having an hold. In this case you cannot change the status manually. It always gets changed automatically, and also the label gets changed with respect to the due dates. Here a person cannot change the status of an item manually. So just checking in or check out itself will show you the status. Okay, whether it has been checked in or checked out. But in both the case, the system has an hold on it. This is about the item status available. Next category is item status M missing. So what do you mean by the word? The meaning of the word only will suggest that a particular item is missing within the library. It is missing within the library due to some reason, because it could be misplaced somewhere. So if when it is misplaced somewhere, it has to be identified and supplied to the library. In this case, the system does not allow any holds on it because item is missing. It is somewhere. It has to be identified where it is, and hence the system will not be having any holds on it. Only in this status you can able to change the status manually. Okay, so this because you have to return or cancel a hold. Sometimes the material will be checked in, you will do the process and you check out, and if that item is misplaced, it is not been visible in the library, then it shows that it is not returned or cancelled. So then that change has to be done manually so that the status gets changed from missing to that of available. This is about the category item status missing. And then comes the status item status n build. So what do you mean by n build? So this status means that the patron has been sent a bill for this item. So in available, what you do, the item will be checked in to do some process. So once the process is done, it will be checked out. So once it is being checked out, it will be received by another department or another team or another company if it required. So then that patron will send a bill for the material which has been checked out from the item status. So then it shows that particular item is now built. So that is the status which claims item status and built. So it is reached always when the system sends the last notice or the item in which it is marked to lost. So this end build status will always come by the last notice in which bill is claimed for the item which is being received. So this status is the system supplied and does not allow any hold. So the system will not be having any hold on it because this is the status which is being supplied by the system based on the material which has been received by any other company. So based on the bill received, this status will be displayed as unbilled for the particular item which was within itself. It's been processed and checked out. So based on the checked out, so bill will be claimed so that it won't be having any hold on the system, but it will show the status as unbilled because it has been received by some other organization or any other team in which other process has been carried out. Here also you cannot change the status manually as in case of item status available. Only in case of M missing you have the option to change the status because you need to identify where this item is misplaced in the library. Similarly, there are many other item status which are mentioned in n number. I will just share the material to that in the Google Classroom. I have just shown the main things. So this covers the syllabus related to your fifth module, product building and structures. So before ending, I just wanted to throw some light on virtual manufacturing because all these we started up. What is the need for virtual manufacturing? How it is related to virtual product development, and what are the methodologies and tools we follow in developing a product virtually, how it is beneficial, how we can create virtual prototype before actual prototype and actual manufacturing, because it yields in obtaining an optimized result with least error and best accuracy, and it is less time, and it also saves our time cost because when you manufacture a trial prototype and see if it is not working properly, then the cost fetched for even that prototype will be a waste, time also will be a waste. But if we create all these virtually by the concept of virtual manufacturing, it really gets benefited to any company or an organization who is working into. So this was the overall agenda of our module 5. So once we have completed, I just wanted to throw some light on virtual manufacturing before we do end. So there are some factors which maximize the effectiveness of our virtual manufacturing. So these are 3D visualization concept, identical man-machine interface, how well you interface between a man and a machine, the simulation part, and the interface and the monitoring phase. So these are the factors one has to fine tune in order to get an enhancement in manufacturing and virtual product. I'm just showing you the final stage of virtual manufacturing. You have studied a lot in depth. Just to close up with the best possible way I am doing. So these are the factors which helps in improving the manufacturing of a product virtually. If the product which has been tried is not up to the mark in virtual, then you have to fine tune in these four categories until and unless you get effectiveness in virtual product what you have developed. So mainly the benefits what you achieve if you manufacture a product virtually are you will be having enhancement in the quality, a cycle time for manufacturing will be reduced, producibility will be more, flexibility in modification, changes, improvement will be very high, responsiveness among the team people also will be good to make the modifications if anything suggested, and also the customer relations improves because even the customers can see the product virtually when it has been manufactured and when it is simulated, so they can identify if any lacuna is there in manufacturing, and they can even provide some more suggestions as per their desires. So in this way it also improves the customer relationship also. So these are the benefits on the whole related to virtual manufacturing of an product. But all the technologies will be having one or the other drawbacks. Even virtual manufacturing have certain drawbacks. So these are integration of simulation system in planning and design tool. So to work successfully and to generate virtual product successfully, they should be having a proper integration among the simulation system and the planning and design tools what you are using. Sometimes to get the required integration will be very sophisticated. People has to train themselves and understand and fine tune such that the integration is better between simulation systems and their tools what you are using. So this is one of the drawback. This come across when you are using the concept in the beginning. If you are a first time user, so as it gets used up, so it will be helpful for you to get a fine tuned integration. But still it is one of the drawback. So automatic generation of simulation models, and it also has a drawback because once you do the mathematical modeling and analysis, it automatically generates a simulation model. So all simulation models might not be so feasible to compare that with theoretical thing and to check whether it is right or wrong. Some simulation model may not map with that of the actual theoretical models because it is self-generated. You have to cross check and see which is mapping with what. So this is some amount of drawback associated with automatic generation of the simulation models. Third drawback is distributed simulation, optimization and control. That's what the simulation models will be self-generated, and optimization of this will be a little bit difficult based on due to automatic generation of the simulation model. Since optimization is then time consuming or it is sophisticated, controlling part also will be little bit complicated. If you were allowed to generate the simulation model manually, then I think the optimization and control would have been still feasible and better. So this has to be fine-tuned such a way that simulation model could be generated manually rather than automatic generation. Another drawback is it is difficult to get an hybrid simulation as requirement. It will be generating based on the common platform of the model. So this also has to be taken care. Hybrid simulation, if it is able to achieve, that will be good. Next is human-computer interface. Achieving interface between human and computer is also not up to the mark as the integration of simulation tools with that of the design tool. Even this has to be overcome to an 100% extent. So if you achieve a good interface between human and computer and a good integration between simulation and design tool, And if simulation models are generated manually, then you can optimize and control to the super fast extent, and you can generate a very good virtual prototype which can function thoroughly without any strangers as per the requirement in how a product should be working in physical nature. So these are some of the drawbacks. It is not a major drawback if one focuses in depth on virtual manufacturing. These problems could be overcome, but this could be achieved only with an experience on virtual reality background, manufacturing it either in prototype or the entire large scale manufacturing. So finally, there are various applications of virtual prototyping manufacturing. These are creating virtual prototype. As this been told already. You can take care of the maintenance of each part, the inventory, everything. You can access machine tools virtually, check the operations virtually. Is it performing well or not? Any other modification in the operation has to be done for any process. All those could be considered. Next is material and warehouse distribution system study. So even it could check the availability of the material and where the warehouse distribution is there virtually without wasting much time, because all database will be fed with the help of product data management. I explained you various CAM tools, CAD tools, analysis simulation tools, along with the product lifecycle process and the design process, right? So embedding a good integration among all these will help you in material and warehouse distribution system study with respect to the required development. And virtual manufacturing can also be used for sheet metal processing virtually, and also that could be used for inspection system in airport operations. Also it can be used. It can also be used in controlling traffic operations. It can also be used in improving the national economy study, how exactly the economy of the nation is, how it could be improved. So based on all these things also, virtual reality concept could be used. So these are mainly the applications for virtual reality technique. So apart from manufacturing, there will be many other applications in which it could be used. So one thing what we focused was product development, virtual product development. So apart from that, virtual reality techniques, what we have studied in detail from the beginning, could be used for these applications also. And also for waging military battles, virtual reality technique could be used. So these are the major applications one can achieve if you're using the concept of virtual reality as a technology to get the optimized, accurate and precise result with reduced time period. So this is a beautiful subject which covered right from the life cycle of the product management to product life cycle to that of product data management, and how to analyze, and finally we also dealt about different strategies what we have to follow, and also associated with product building and structures. And this was embedded with respect to virtual reality concept, which is the latest trend in which is going on in the current market. So it provides you an entire total description related to how to develop a product. If you are a new entrepreneur also, if you study the subject product lifecycle management, you will be in a situation to start up a company with the keen knowledge with respect to each and every process by embedding the concept of product data management and product data technology along with virtual reality for a successful product with good life cycle, with good sales, return, profit, with enhanced maturity stage for a longer period of time. Thank you all. If you have any doubts, you're free to call at any time. Welcome.